What if the loudest thing Taylor Swift has ever done wasn't a song, a speech, or a public statement, but her refusal to speak at all? What if her silence isn't absence, weakness, or retreat, but one of the most calculated and powerful tools she's ever mastered? In an industry addicted to noise, reaction, and constant visibility, silence becomes dangerous. And when someone as famous as Taylor Swift chooses it, that silence starts to mean something. For years, the world expected Taylor to explain herself. Every relationship, every breakup, every feud, every lyric, every rumor. Silence was treated as guilt, avoidance, or fear. But over time, something shifted. Taylor stopped responding on cue. She stopped correcting narratives immediately. She stopped feeding cycles that were designed to consume her, and instead of the losing control, she gained it. Have you noticed how the less she explains, the more seriously people listen? Silence, for Taylor, is not empty space. It's pressure. When she doesn't speak, the spotlight turns back on the audience, the media, the accusers, the critics. They reveal themselves. They fill the void with assumptions, projections, contradictions. And in that process, their credibility weakens while hers stays intact. Speaking invites argument. Silence invites exposure. Which one actually holds more power? Early in her career, Taylor explained everything. She defended herself. She clarified intentions. She tried to be understood. That instinct came from a place of vulnerability. She believed that if people knew her side, fairness would follow. Experience taught her otherwise. Explanations don't stop misinterpretation. They just create new material to be dissected. Silence, on the other hand, starts the machine. When there's nothing new to quote, outrage runs out of fuel. One of the most misunderstood ideas about silence is that it means losing the narrative. In reality, it often means delaying control until the right moment. Taylor doesn't stay silent forever. She stays silent until she can speak on her own terms. Through music, through timing, through structure. When she finally breaks silence, it's never reactive. It's definitive. Have you noticed how her responses often arrive already complete, already framed, already impossible to interrupt? Silence also protects emotional truth. When you respond immediately, you speak from injury. When you wait, you speak from clarity. Taylor's silence allows her to feel privately before performing publicly. That separation is rare in celebrity culture, where emotion is expected to be instant content. By withholding, she preserves authenticity. What parts of yourself would feel safer if you didn't have to explain them right away? There's another layer people rarely talk about. Silence reshapes power dynamics. When someone attacks you and you respond, you validate the exchange. You confirm they matter. When you don't respond, you force them into irrelevance or escalation. And escalation exposes motive. Taylor learned that lesson early. She watched how reacting kept her trapped in cycles she didn't control. Silence broke those loops. Think about how uncomfortable silence makes people. We're conditioned to fill it, to justify, to apologize, to overshare. When Taylor doesn't do that, it unsettles expectations. It challenges the belief that fame equals access. Her silence redraws boundaries. It says, you don't get everything just because you're watching. In a world where oversharing is currency, restraint becomes rebellion. Silence also creates anticipation. When Taylor disappears, the world leans in. Speculation builds. Attention concentrates. And when she returns, the impact multiplies. This isn't accident. It's rhythm. Presence means more when absence exists. Constant visibility flattens influence. Strategic silence sharpens it. Have you ever noticed how her quiet periods often precede her most defining moments? Midway through this story, let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you chose silence instead of defending yourself? Not because you had nothing to say, but because you knew saying it too soon would cost you clarity. If this kind of psychological breakdown resonates with you, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment about a moment when silence changed the outcome of your own life. Another hidden power of Taylor's silence is how it recenters her art. When she doesn't speak, the music becomes the message. Lyrics carry weight because they aren't diluted by interviews, explanations, or constant commentary. The audience has to listen, not scheme headlines, not quote tweets. Listen. Silence forces depth. It demands patience. And patience filters out shallow engagement. Silence also allows reinvention. By stepping back, Taylor sheds old expectations. When she returns, she isn't continuing a conversation. She's starting a new one. New era, new rules. Silence becomes the bridge between identities. It clears the emotional and narrative slate. Without that pause, evolution would feel abrupt. With it, change feels earned. There's also dignity in her silence. Not the performative kind, but the quiet refusal to beg for understanding. She doesn't chase validation anymore. She doesn't correct every lie. She trusts time. Time, unlike opinion, has memory. Over years, patterns reveal themselves. Consistency outlasts noise. Her silence signals confidence in that process. Do you trust time enough to let it speak for you? Perhaps the most powerful aspect of her silence is that it models something rare. You don't have to react to everything. You don't owe everyone access to your emotions. You can choose when, how, and if you speak. For someone with her level of visibility, that choice is radical. And for those watching, it quietly gives permission to do the same. Taylor Swift's silence isn't about hiding. It's about timing. It's about refusing to let others dictate the moment of response. It's about understanding that not every battle deserves a voice, and not every voice deserves a battle. Silence, used intentionally, becomes authorship. So the next time Taylor doesn't respond, don't assume weakness. Ask yourself what she's gaining by waiting. Ask what's being revealed in the absence of her voice. And ask yourself one final question. What would change in your life if you spoke less, but meant it more when you finally did? If this perspective shifted the way you see silence, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into power, psychology, and the unseen strategies behind modern influence.